being able to track that, knowing ideally what your TSH was in your 20s and 30s, and then being able to track that over time, having a time series is really essential.
We'll also be adding estradiol, progesterone, and TSH to our panel. So I don't know if those are also biomarkers, I'm sure, that do get measured in the clinic. So I would love if you all could talk about how those are applicable to the women that come to your clinic and how do you use them?
Well, I heard TSH, right?
Yep.
Is that what you said?
Yep.
So thyroid stimulating hormone, the brain connection to the thyroid. I would say, and typically that's the first thing that individuals screen for thyroid health. That, and in addition to that, you would think about thyroid antibodies, but in and of itself, it's a great screening tool to tell if someone is hypothyroid, if someone is hyperthyroid, and it's very actionable. And of course, looking at free T3, free T4. I don't know if you look at reverse T3 as well.
I do,
Yeah.
as a measure of stress and
Yeah.
as a blocker for the thyroid receptor. So I totally agree. And, we've got such an epidemic right now of Hashimoto's thyroiditis that I think the antibody piece is incredibly important. We've got this background of thyropause. So we know about menopause, we know about perimenopause. There's this experience of women as they get older of their thyroid just not working the way that it once did. And the vast majority of that, I think 90 to 95%, is related to autoimmune attack. So being able to track that, knowing ideally what your TSH was in your 20s and 30s, and then being able to track that over time, having a time series is really essential, which is something we do in precision medicine to do these deep time series. The other hormones are essential as well. Estrogen doesn't change until pretty late in perimenopause. It can also fluctuate wildly. So knowing where you are, not a single measurement, but a time series can really be helpful. And progesterone, one of the things that I see a lot in my patients is that they have low progesterone starting at 35. So that can be related to a number of different causes. Sometimes it's just ovarian aging. Sometimes it's related to having high cortisol, which I see in most female physicians. It's a very common
Why would
problem.
that be? Just
I have
kidding.
no idea. No idea. So I think being able to track these over time is essential.
So we want to talk a little bit about muscles, which we know is a great topic. So you are a big proponent of strength and resistance training for women, and we love you for that. How do estradiol levels contribute to declines in muscle mass, and what is the real impact of that for folks?
I think that there is more evidence emerging. So I would say that there are anabolic components to estrogen and skeletal muscle. Oftentimes we think about testosterone as a more anabolic impact on skeletal muscle. But what we do see is when estrogen levels decline, there is signaling within skeletal muscle. So we do see, which by the way, can be overcome with exercise. A decrease, it's interesting, skeletal muscle, the input into skeletal muscle is multifactorial. It's not just hormones, it's not just training, it's not just nutrition, it's a combination of all of these things: physical stress, hormonal stress, energy input, and but with a decrease in hormones, a decrease in estrogen, there is impact on skeletal muscle. To the magnitude, I am not sure as it relates to the data yet. I think that we still need to get a more totality, a bigger body of evidence. But on the positive note, when individuals' estrogens decline, that is not a death sentence for body composition. Is it more challenging? Certainly, oftentimes we see with a decrease in estrogen that there's decreased spontaneous movement. But again, these things can be overcome.